I'm Sam Scott for KTUI.
There you go.
Hey, good morning and welcome back. Here we are live at the White Mule Winery on the high plains of Gasconade County. 48 cloudy degrees here on the high plains this morning, and I don't know exactly what happened to our sun, but I know that it's up there, and quite a change from yesterday. I mean, it was cool yesterday morning, but warmed up in the 70s, and I think it's going to warm up today some. We had just a little shower of rain last night, not measurable at all, but it kind of surprised me how it came in such a hurry. But good to have you along here this morning on KTUI, 1560 AM, 94.1 FM, or possibly you're watching on Facebook Live, and it is really good to be back with you this morning. The last month we have just been doing a lot of different stuff. We're redoing a barn, and we've been pouring concrete, and Thursdays have been the only days that I could kind of get help lined up, so we've missed you there. And then last week we took a few days in the middle of the week and went and visited Karen's sister in Iowa, and that was good to get away. And Gracie didn't want to do the radio show herself. Why? I don't know why, Gracie, but you know.
You're just better at it.
You surely didn't run out of things to say.
Oh, I would.
You can talk bad about me when I'm not here. You know what I'm saying?
No.
What'd you do to your hair? I noticed now this morning because yesterday I walked in and
you didn't even notice yesterday.
to God, I did not notice, but I walked and honestly, we see each other, but I don't bother you that much anymore in the office. I mean, I bother you whenever I get in here, but I stay out on the farm more than you used to, right?
You do.
And drop in every day or two just in case, or see what, except during the weekends. I'm always around, but she said, "You see something different about me?" And I thought, another baby. I guess that's not the case.
That is not the case.
Well, she said, you can't, and I can't really even tell this morning,
There you go.
So you got your hair done a little bit different, but whatever. It's good to be.
Thanks, Dad.
Well, you just never know around here. You know what I'm saying? You just never know. But anyway, we had a great time in Iowa, and it was a great crop up there, which is kind of surprising because Jim and Kathy, which is Karen's sister and my brother-in-law, they were down. We get back and forth 3 or 4 times a year, but they were down in June, and things were so dry up there, and they were so concerned, about, the crop, because that's, a critical time, and they got a few showers of rain, but it is an absolute bumper crop across their whole area, and that's good because, agriculture is all, for the most part, what they have, and it's very important to us, and I'm thankful for that they got a good crop. So anyway, it is good to be back with you here this morning on KTUI, and we have a guest that is not a stranger to our table at the radio show, and does frequent our place also, occasionally when she has time.
Yeah.
October is not a time when you have much time.
No, it is not.
Tammy Brookerhoff, she is the, God, you change titles so often, but she is the person that you want to talk with about Hermann and tourism and anything else. The chamber, what is your title?
So I'm the Tourism and Economic Development Director for the City of Hermann. How about that?
That is awesome. And nobody does it better.
Oh, thank you.
It's, and we've talked about this before. I've talked about it before. Nobody really does it any better in regard to tourism and things, and have for a period of time, than Hermann. They did a tremendous job marketing themselves and branding their community, in regard to the quality that they put forth in the wine industry, in the bed and breakfast, in the sausage making, but most of all, German hospitality.
Absolutely. We have a hashtag, Hermann Hospitality, and I use it quite often. But, there's so many people that laid this groundwork for me and kind of made it a lot easier for me. I have a beautiful place to market. So, so many people have come into our towns and have started businesses or renovated homes or renovated businesses and started these just amazing businesses. And, of course, that history goes back pre-Prohibition, but then after Prohibition when the Elds bought Stonehill Winery and started that whole branding process for Hermann, and not just for their business, but also for Hermann as a tourism destination. So it's been a great road, and a lot of people have laid an amazing groundwork for me to just take it to another level.
And still continue to blaze new trails, in regard to, what they're doing and what they're becoming. And the key, we were talking about another group, on a Friday night about, the wine industry and, the Hoffman family, that's coming in our area and, buying a lot of wineries up, buying a lot of businesses up, and those particular, kind of things. And just wondering, the wonder of the table was what's that going to do for everybody else, in regard to their business. And, in Hermann in particular, because they are such an icon. But our analogy, and certainly my analogy, is that the roots are so deep. How deep are the roots? And the Norton that I have in my vineyard survived Prohibition.
Right, there you go.
On a little old plot of ground over at Potsdam, across, wherever.
Yes.
But most of the Norton, what I'm saying, have did that. But those roots in regard to not only the wine, but also the heritage of who started this wine industry back, but then the hospitality and the bed and breakfasts that have forged relationships all over the world. And you don't change those relationships. You will continue to go back, you know what I'm saying, to their wedding venues. You'll continue to go back to Oktoberfest. You'll continue to go back because you not only strike the chord in regard to great wines and great food, you also strike that chord, the most important in my opinion, on just an incredible experience.
And that is what sets Hermann apart from so many other destinations and Gasconade County in general. We get the compliment all the time that everyone is so nice here. And so that is in itself a great selling feature for us as Visit Hermann and for us as the whole region. So we are very nice people. Can you believe that? But
Yes.
we tend to build relationships with our customers, and a lot of destinations, the businesses don't do that. They see the visitor one time and then they go away and they never see those visitors again. So we have, visitors from all over that are literally coming back to Hermann 3 and 4 and 5 times a year. And so Hermann has become their place and their retreat. And some of those people that started as visitors are now friends. So they're your friends on Facebook. They're your friends on Instagram. You follow each other. They're sharing for your business, or for sharing for Hermann, and they're telling their friends, you need to go to Hermann. You need to find.
And they're not only doing it in regard to visitorship, they're buying in.
Yes.
They are absolutely buying the new businesses, the new entrepreneurs, the agricultural, the land, the lifestyle that we enjoy.
Right.
This is their retirement destination.
Yes.
and it's a generational thing.
Yes.
You know, on both sides of everything, it is a generational thing because many of the people, you know, in Hermann have been there like 2 generations or 3 now in the hospitality business. But the customers are also generational, and they bring their families back because it's family.
Right, and last night I was at an event at Hogshead Cigars and Fine Tobaccos. It was a brandy and chocolate pairing.
Do you smoke cigars? No, I can't answer that. I don't know.
Not to say I wouldn't try it if Colleen like walked me through the process of doing it, I guess. But you know, to each their own. And when I was first in business in the Hermann area, people told us, visitors told us, the 2 things you're missing are a cigar shop and a quilt shop. And now we have a cigar shop and we have 2 quilt shops, so we're really fortunate. But last night, sitting at this chocolate and brandy pairing, Colleen and her husband are from Texas. They knew they wanted to move to the Midwest, so they sold their house in Texas, moved to Columbia, rented an apartment, and just drove around Missouri trying to figure out where they wanted to make their retirement life, essentially. What happened was they landed in Hermann. And also sitting there last night was 3 other local business people that have figured out that Hermann is their new home. And so there are 3 new businesses as a result of them, actually 4 or 5 in some cases.
Right.
But they're making Hermann their home. Some have children that are in our school system, and some are expecting to have children in our school system. So we have like a really nice influx of young entrepreneurs who are finding that Hermann is a great place to live, work, raise their kids, and there's a lot of different experiences. Whether it's, you know, you want to be at a cigar shop having some brandy and some chocolate, or whether you want to be down on the riverfront and hanging out at the river doing a little fishing, or, you know, being very involved in sports, or hanging out at the park and learning about pickleball.
You know, we conservatives, and I don't mean that in regard to Republican and Democrat. I'm just talking about you know, being conservative as a whole. You can be you know, you can't be a liberal, but you can certainly be a conservative Democrat, which
Sure.
we know that there's you know, used to be a lot of them, you know, around. But we conservatives have held on to those traditions and those values, and been made fun of, you know, for doing some of the stuff that we have traditionally done. No more.
Right.
No more. Those people that come to our community, those people are moving in, they have bought in to the conservative value, and not values, the value that conservatism, whatever party they are, bring to the table. Slow to change, you know, and there's a whole list of them, but they like the structured discipline of conservatism.
Yeah, we've just seen a really great increase of the number of people moving into town, and even outside of the city limits as well. But, you know, some really interesting businesses popping up, and, you know, so there's more coming on that maybe I can't even talk about yet, but very exciting. And
It is exciting.
It adds to the mix of the types of businesses, which adds to the mix of the type of people that come. They're starting to do things during the week. So, you know, last night was a Wednesday night, and town was incredibly busy yesterday. Was it the weather? Was it October? Was it the town? You know, what was it? But another interesting couple that I was at our visitor information center is now at the Amtrak station, which is really awesome. So we are greeting people from all over the country coming into Hermann on the Amtrak, which is just phenomenal.
Awesome.
But yesterday there was a couple in there actually from Alaska, They travel from about August till right before Thanksgiving, and they keep their motorcycle at their home in California. So they were just trying to figure out where to road trip to. They were only going to stay in Hermann one night as their original plan. But then after we got to talking, and when they even came in, they're like, we think we're going to stay a second night. And on top of it, they were looking for the tree colors,
Yes.
which we haven't seen yet.
Which, no.
And they're like, this has to be stunning in the fall, like with the tree colors changing. And so I helped them kind of route into
path.
like Illinois and Iowa, but they want to come back into Hermann for a night or two on their trip. And I'm like, you are my people.
Well, you know, exactly the same thing happened here this week with Harvest Toast. We had, 2 or 3 people, here, and, I visited with them a little, and I don't have, a lot of times don't, but, the guy caught my attention because he had a Navy cap on. So, whenever you see that, I'm going to migrate to and thank him for his service and do whatever. And we talked, as a matter of fact, I give him a little tour around the farm just for a few minutes and did whatever. And so when we were talking, he said, well, we were going to go to Fort Wood and then go out, but, go looking for a place to winter, down south. But he said, we're going to go to Fort Wood, we're going to come back to the area. Because I told him about it. Never been to Hermann, never been to Rosebud.
Yeah.
And, so they do like it. They do appreciate it. And that the independency of and the amount of latitude, if you have your own home on wheels, that gives you tremendous flexibility in what you do.
Actually, in the class last night, there was 3 couples that were staying in the RV campground. And so what a great event for them to participate in. And they're staying in town, and what's to do? Why not go for a chocolate and brandy pairing, and then Colleen had a cigar.
And you get to talk about the local stuff with people that
so
love the
fun.
history. And
Yeah,
we've got so much to
mix.
talk about on our history and our,
Yeah. They had a lot of questions, so we were filling in a lot of answers, but then it was just really interesting to talk to them and learn about them as well. There was a couple a few weeks ago that came from New York that one of our guest house owners told us that this couple was so impressed with Hermann and the hospitality in this area, and they had gone down to Swiss and they got an Uber, I think, to actually do that, take them down there. But they came in on the train, and they were so impressed because they were traveling all across the country on train, but stopping overnight at some different destinations. We were so glad they chose Hermann, but they stayed in Hermann for 2 nights. They told the guest house owner that at no other station between New York and Hermann did they feel more welcome than they did in Hermann, Missouri. So they'll be back.
And those people talk. I mean, and that's one thing about, Facebook is all over the place on all the news and the good and the bad, and I don't follow any of it, you know what I'm saying, other than some of those little videos sometimes that farmers out and what, you know what I'm saying. But I don't do it. But that, people talk, and, they tell people what's on their mind, and that's,
Yeah.
they're honest about those kind of things. They're not going to recommend going to some place if you didn't highly favor it.
Right. I still say word of mouth is one of the best forms of advertising.
Hard to beat it.
We're all taught that as kids and very young age, that word of mouth is the best advertising. And even with the social media rage that we're in, that if you get that recommendation personally from a friend or from a family member, you're likely to go on that adventure as well.
Oktoberfest, here we are, here we are, Oktoberfest, and it comes around every year, and, it has since the early 1800s over in Bavaria, and what a dang good thing to celebrate, when you can celebrate beer itself. And,
Right.
Doesn't that say a whole lot
Yeah.
when you celebrate, the icon of beer
Yeah.
and can celebrate in like 2 weeks, you know what I'm saying, of Fun Fest and travel and, going, and it is so good. It is a good thing, but it does have its roots way back there, But since the Berlin Wall, came down, it has a whole new meaning, reconciliation in Germany, and just since in the 80s or 90s, whenever that occurred, Germany after the war is so fractured, that and it always has been. That's why it has always been factions, and it always been warring, between those factions. That's why our ancestors came over, you know what I'm saying? Because there was turmoil always, and always, you got Russian, there was Tsars and Prussia and whatever, but Germans did a pretty good job fighting amongst themselves too, to some degree. But anyway, it has kind of a new thing, and it's taken on a whole new dimension because it is the reconciliation and the coming together of Germany. Since the wall is down, there's free movement. You know what I'm saying? Throughout that entire area, which before that occurred, you had Berlin East and West, and they're really partying now. You know what I'm saying? I did read this, okay? In them 14 days in like Berlin, 2 million gallon, 1.7 million gallon of beer was consumed.
That's a lot. I don't
I'd
think
make
Herman
Augie
quite
Bush
hits that.
proud.
I don't think Herman quite hits that, but
That's the whole Munich of it. We got to do wine too or whatever.
Right, absolutely. Yes.
So when you talk about Bush Bavarian beer, that's the roots.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the heritage, of the Bavarian thing. And they got together in October because harvest, was coming, to an end. And, you're about ready to get them German winters, Switzerland and Bavaria, you don't get out so much. So they all got together and they did a good job. And now, people come here every year to go to Hermann, to go to our area, and, they tell you, we're here for Oktoberfest because we have such a great time. We can relax and, enjoy everything there is to enjoy about Oktoberfest.
Absolutely. I mean, everybody thinks that Herman is, just all about Oktoberfest, and that's like the only thing then that the town dies after Oktoberfest is over, which always makes me laugh because we still have a lot of weekends and days very, very busy for the rest of the year. But Oktoberfest is certainly what Herman is known for all over, I think, the U.S. actually. So we've had some wonderful articles written about Herman Oktoberfest on blogs and in newspapers and on radio stations. And Herman is definitely known for Oktoberfest. And, we used to have just a few wineries or just, a few places that would have live music. And now Herman is truly becoming known as a live music destination. And musical artists are using Herman now to say, I've played in Herman. So we have a whole new music vibe, and whether it's, if Oktoberfest having jazz music is for you, or having rock music is for you, or having blues music, or, now we have a piano bar where there's dueling pianos. So depending on what vibe it is for you, maybe it's not even the music vibe. Maybe it's just sitting in the park at your RV and enjoying the park, or sitting up on the hill at Stonehill and enjoying the town. I mean, there truly is something for everyone during Oktoberfest. And Fridays and Saturdays are very, very busy in town right now, and Sunday through Thursday is very busy, but it's a different vibe.
My fest is the other one. That's the springtime, celebration. But the character is the same, and that's my first memories of Herman was going to the My Fest because they had a parade. You know what I'm saying? They had the Oompa bands.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And but then they had the they're not cloggers, but the dancers.
The Worshiggers.
Yeah, are they still functioning? Do they get out much?
They
Get out much. I don't get out much.
they are an aging group, so I hope that we can revitalize that group and get some younger blood involved in dancing with them, because the Leinig German band is still going strong. They've been at the Fest Hall at Wharf Street in Gutenberg every Saturday from 1 to 5, and they, even if you don't enjoy dancing yourself, going and watching Terry and Marilyn Leinig is a treat in itself.
And they have been carried mail a long time, you know?
Terry carried mail a long time. When he came back from Germany, it was in the Army, I believe, and Terry, his daughter, is 51 now, so she was born over in Germany, so it was a long time ago that he was in Germany, and came back and brought some of those roots with him.
I gotta get me one of those
Lederhosen?
later hosens.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I got my shorts on this morning, but you know, and I kind of got a homemade one.
Suspenders?
Yeah, I got suspenders too, but you know, I don't have that thing that goes across right here, you know, and that's the real thing. So, you know, you have Oktoberfest goes. I mean, that celebration could go however long you want it to go, but you know,
Every weekend in
October,
October.
every weekend in October.
But a lot of it spills over into November.
Of course it does. And you know, this year, you know, a lot of that focal point, you know, for Oktoberfest has been the leaves, and the people wanting to travel, you know, 94, 150, wherever, and enjoy the beautiful scenery. And as of yet, they have yet to produce the foliage that we're looking for. We have to wait and see, because, you know, I know that there'll be some color, some more color out there, but, you know, I don't know if we're going to have a great color year or not. It's just hard to know.
I've been questioning that as well, because we had so many dry spells. But you know, back in the 80s, we could always tell people the second and third weekend were the most beautiful weekends of Oktoberfest, and I think that's one of the reasons why those weekends are so popular. In addition to Mizzou's football schedule. Yes. So, but the fall leaf color, those drives, that drive from Jefferson City down Highway 94. Or down Highway 50, depending on what you're looking for. It is absolutely beautiful, and that's what this couple with the motorcycles, they had actually come from Branson, and they came Highway 50 and then took Highway 100 into Hermann, and then somehow they went back around and they took 19 from Swiss. So I don't know exactly what their route was, but they were just so impressed of all of the Ozarks and the beauty of what we have around here. And I encouraged them to take their motorcycle and go up Highway 94, at least to Portland, to get, you know, go through the bluffs of Bluffton. And I tried to get him to think about going up up the Grand Bluffs Conservation Area, which is a 1 mile hike up a bluff, which overlooks the Missouri River Valley, and you can see Chamois, you can see into Osage County. Oh, it's absolutely phenomenal. Totally underpromoted, but it is a true nature hiker's destination from all over the Midwest.
There you go.
You're making it a little less desirable when you say
Okay, so I have
nature's hiker.
Right.
You know, because my knee.
I know somebody who does the mowing there, so maybe I can get you on his mower and you can go up.
I'll be happy to take my zero.
Yeah.
You know,
It is quite.
I gotta ride it all the way to Hermann, which is fun.
Yeah, the Grand Bluffs Conservation Area is one of the true assets that we have, and it's just 3/10 of a mile off the Katy Trail. So we encourage a lot of bicyclists who are coming from either direction, whether it's a day trip or whether they're doing the whole trail, to, you know, just veer off a little bit, and if your legs are still feeling up to it, hike up to the top of Grand Bluffs, because it is absolutely beautiful up there.
You know, those are one of those closely held secrets that shouldn't necessarily be, but you know, it cost a little bit to get there. Now that you know it, you know what I'm saying. I'm sure it's absolutely absolutely delightful. There's no question. So this week, this week we're in the heart of, the Oktoberfest festival, and, I'm sure that there are specific things that you are working on for getting people to come to the area. What are some of those special things that are going on this month?
Still yet this month, like I said, the Leining German Band is
Right.
playing. I'm really excited about that. We have the weekly schedule of events. We used to have a one-sheeter on one side. Now this year we've had to go to two sides because there's so much going on. But tonight is Witches and Wine at the down in the downtown at 4th and Schiller. So we're expecting about 250
Wow.
witches to take over the town. That's always fun. We are, as the marketing person for the town, I'm kind of past Oktoberfest already, and I'm working on Christmas.
No,
I'm working on the wine trail, or the wedding trail, excuse me, in January and February. We're working on Valentine's Day, and we're working on the Wurstfest in March. So
Wow.
we have
Well,
to
yeah,
all stay ahead.
There's no question
Yeah.
that's the key, and keeping out ahead, and finding all these new opportunities in business, and then marketing those particular niches in your overall makes a huge difference. Well, I know, I just know by reading, the Gascony County Republican occasionally, that our sales tax is ahead, for the year, and significantly, that's a pretty good tribute, to our area, to the people that we serve, we've been blessed, what I'm saying, and as well as, our entire area, to see, some tax dollars flowing back into the area, because it had been lean. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
In all honesty, for a lot of the county and a lot of the businesses, it had been lean, but it is coming back, and it shows that the economic fortune is here for the people that want to work and get it done.
Right. In early May of 2020, right after COVID hit in March, I was on a conference call with our friends at TripAdvisor, and they told us that as destinations, visitors are going to go to destinations where they feel comfortable, where they feel safe, where they feel like they know you already, where they have a connection already. Or they're going to be seeking out those places within 50 miles, maybe 100 miles of their home that they can day trip to, or that they maybe can spend a night or two in a very safe environment. And that's what we have. We are, there's so many cities in our state that are struggling because they have big hotels that they're...
Problem number one, you bringing in people all over the country in a very small space, sharing the same airspace,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying,
Yes.
in these hotels, and that's...
We also, we really lost, though, our bus group tour industry in Hermann. So many years, Kay Schwinke worked so hard to bring buses into Hermann, and, to go to many different places all throughout the year, not just at Christmas time. But she had 53 buses one year just in the holiday season of Christmas. And overall for the whole year, she had over 80 buses. Well, that industry totally hit bottom last year.
Terrible.
And so can you imagine 53 senior citizens all in a enclosed environment? So we are really working hard now trying to reach out to those buses, to those group tour operators, to those bus groups, because we know we have something special 7 days of the week that we can offer group tours. And we are seeing a nice raise in that. There was 2 buses in town yesterday, 2 small buses from the same community that rather than bringing one bus of 53, they bought 2 buses of like 27. So we've seen several buses starting to come back, but people want to go where they're safe and where they know they're going to be treated with hospitality.
We've seen, I think, the first bus this week, right, that we've had. I mean, I miss part of it, and, you know, I mean, I miss a lot of it, in all honesty, but, you know, during the week, those bigger buses, you know, I mean, of course you get those localized party, you know, situations or whatever, but the big 50 passenger, you know, but that industry is on the rebound now. I mean, it is. I'm friends with those people that own, or did. It's now sold. Mid-America coaches from Washington, and it was devastating.
Absolutely.
You know, it was. I don't think they mind. I mean, we were in Fredericksburg, Texas together when COVID kind of hit with those. What a great destination. Have you been there?
I've not. It is on my list.
My goodness, which was 2 years ago, I guess, this spring or whatever, that we were here with Dennis and Joyce and several other people from Washington. And we wasn't sure we was going to get home at that point. You know what I'm saying? It was just one of those things that you plan on earlier. But anyway, I was with them that weekend when things collapsed. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just absolutely, and they were full, you know, boom, 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 and it had a terrible impact on, because that's the first thing you quit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the absolute first thing that you get away from, is these bus tours where you're congregating together, you know, and it's, you spend a week together, you know, or 2 to 3 days, whatever it happens to be. So it was decimated, but it is coming back with vengeance, and God, that's good.
It's so exciting. We've had calls from all over the Midwest for group tours to come back to Hermann, and I'm so excited, because not only am I excited for Hermann and for our businesses, but I'm also excited for those people who are you know, that bus tour was, I know from my grandparents' perspective, that as farmers, that is what they looked forward to every year. They were, where are we going?
Farmers' wives.
Mid-America. this
Absolutely.
year.
You know what I'm saying?
Pikes Peak, you name it. They went all over on those bus tours, and I know how important those trips are to so many people. Whether it's, you know, just somewhere in the state, like my aunt is going to Branson in a few weeks, and I just think that bus tour group, I mean, they've become such a family to us that we want to welcome them back and bring them back, because we've missed them.
Absolutely, and it's good for them. It's good, you know, for us, and it's just good to have maybe the COVID cloud lifting. We pray, you know, continuing to, but you know, science is doing its part, and you know, getting people, you know, more confident, I think, you know what I'm saying, those that have had their shots, you know, and have tasted some freedom, you know, in regard to that. So, you know, those are great things. Fredericksburg, just a little corner of that, if you haven't went, I think the city of Hermann ought to send you.
Oh.
Because I was blown away by what is going on there, and the amount of new investment that has been made in the wine and the spirit, in you know, spirits as a whole, but wine in particularly is through the roof. I mean, I would say billions. Wow. You know, I would say 20 brand new, maybe more than that, or maybe less. We couldn't hit them all.
Right.
But, you know, that many new wineries, and
exactly.
over the top nice. I mean, way different than we are. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you had to join the club down there and do all of those things, you know what I'm saying, to, you know, go into those places, but gorgeous, and lots of money, but absolutely the best. I mean, other than Hermann, you know. But there's not but the best German food, the best German restaurant that I've ever been to. Of course, I haven't been to Germany.
Right.
But it's worth it. Look at what they're doing. Study that, because it's absolutely raising the tide. And we stayed in a 150-year-old rock house out in the country, bed and breakfast. Phenomenal. Absolutely, totally recommended.
I'm booking this week. See, that word of mouth is working.
It is awesome. We'll even give you the place to stay.
Okay.
You know.
The plan. That's how it works.
So anyway, other people are doing some great things too, to get out and to build a business and build lives around tourism, and it's a great thing. I had the opportunity a few weeks ago we don't do very much catering, outside of right here. But Lynn Tech called, and they had the Missouri Chamber there, and they said, told Karen, asked if she would, bring and cater, and they said, and have Charlie come and talk. So that was a given. But they're getting it, okay? I mean, they at Lynn Tech, and they're a great, a phenomenal school.
Absolutely.
But they are getting the understanding of what it takes, okay, to perpetuate, the hospitality business, to get into the viticulture, to get into, anything, hotels and, cooking and those particular things on the skill set. You don't need to be a PhD to go out and trim in the vineyard.
Oh.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Or you don't need to be a PhD to come and wash the wine tanks and clean and make wine, as long as you can follow an absolute procedure that needs to be done in regard to how those things are done. And you know what, even dishwashers, a certain way to do it, or whatever, or to cook. And the meat cutting business is another, all of those particular things are good jobs, good careers. Now you think hospitality, but you look around and, you look at some of the top pay in the right destinations. I guess that includes you. How much money the hospitality managers make?
There's some young people who are working in Hermann, cleaning homes, and they are making a lot of money. They are making way more than when I started out at the little bar in Rhineland at $2 an hour. They're making $20 and $25 an hour cleaning B&Bs and guest houses, or working at some of our restaurants. Their tips and the wineries, their tips are phenomenal.
They are unbelievable. And
They're making more money than I am. And,
they're making more money than, they are honest, and I'm tickled to death.
Yeah, let them work hard for it. I have no problem with that whatsoever. Lynn Tech, you mentioned them, of course, fantastic. We need more students going to Lynn Tech. To find someone to fix a refrigerator or a cooler or an oven or a piece of equipment, and especially in a hospitality community when we're 7 days a week, we have to have those people learning those skills. We have to have them. And we have so many places now with so much more equipment. Every restaurant, every bar, every tasting room, everywhere has commercial equipment. They all have heating and cooling systems, so we need them so badly. And these folks are getting really good money for their skills.
Electricians or any of these skill sets, but you think about, we have our short list on our coolers, you know what I'm saying, who we call, because, you know what, the meat freezers, those things, they get to be some pretty critical money.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
And if one goes down in the middle of the night and you don't have it set up on an alarm, you're in big trouble.
Call me, Grace.
It's scary.
Yeah, it is to that point where it's. But yes, I know. So keep your eye on that stuff, would you?
That's your bread and butter.
Okay, We're talking with Tammy Brookerhoff here, and just talking about a lot of different things. We're going to take a little break here on KTUI 1560 AM, 94.1 FM, our Facebook Live, and have Gracie tell you what else is going on in this week and maybe the week or two ahead. The biggie on the block coming up is a few weeks out is Halloween, and I cannot believe some of the places and how much decoration. God, I'd hate to weed eat and cut grass around a lot of those.
A few weeks out, it is next Sunday. It's the fourth weekend.
Well, thanks for that, Tammy.
I don't know where you've been, but
Well, I will tell you this. I know that the week of October the 12th is my birthday week. And normally, see why I'm behind? Because we normally get frost around that time.
Yes.
We have yet to have it.
oh, we had
So
a
I'm
little,
still weeks away from Halloween.
yeah, we had a little north of the river last week,
Did you really? Well, you guys,
Sunday morning. A lot, actually.
did you really?
Yeah.
We haven't experienced that yet, but Gracie, tell us what's happening.
The Owensville Moose Lodge is having a fried chicken supper Saturday, October 23rd. 2-piece plate is $9, 3 pieces $10. They start serving at 4 o'clock, dine-in or takeout. Everyone is welcome. There will be a haunted theater tour at Owensville Community Theater Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of the 29th, 30th, and 31st from 6 to 9 p.m. It'll be $5 per person. No reservations are not required.
That sounds like fun.
And for the trunk or treats this year, the Gerald Legion Park is having their 11th annual Rock Island Halloween Fun Run Walk October 23rd. Check-in is at 9 and the walk will start at 10. And then the Gerald Chamber of Commerce is having their trunk or treat Saturday, October 30th at the Gerald Park from 6 to 8 p.m. They will have contests for best kids in costumes and the best decorated trunk.
You know, I remember going to the first trunk or treat that they had, and I got so much candy. I think, I don't know, I was in office, but they had it in Gerald.
Nice.
And it was amazing to me how many people, and it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and now most communities have that, maybe, so that was one of the originals, though.
Very special for kids. A great event.
Yes.
This Friday night at the White Mule, we will be serving steak, lasagna, shrimp, and beef kebabs from 5 until 8:30. Saturday, we have also started serving our steaks from 5 until 8:30, as well as pizza wings and hamburgers. And Sunday is all-you-can-eat pan-fried chicken and roast beef from 11 until 3:30.
What a delicious area we live in.
Yeah, that's,
We tell
Home-
people, go ahead, I'm sorry.
well, home is where mom cooks.
Right,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? I mean, some of those things.
We
and-
tell people you're going to eat and drink your way through town.
Exactly.
and Hermann calories don't count.
I never thought about that, Yeah, that's,
So much
Well-
to enjoy.
there is a lot, and we have a good time in what we do.
Absolutely.
You
And
know,
that shines through.
And, it's, even though it's, sometimes in all of our businesses it gets challenging, but to serve people at a certain level, that we're blessed to, and see the joy that you bring them is worth all the effort, isn't it?
Absolutely. All the days of the year.
No question about it. Well, you talked about a prelude of what's to come, and I know that Christmas, is a special time. Are we still doing a lot of the tree things and those things, and Hermann decorating?
Yes.
And
Yes, there's 5 weekends of Christmas in Hermann, so we are super excited. The holiday house tours are back. We had them last year. We had 4 houses on the tour, but this year we've got 7. Lots of great stops, some new, some old, some historic. It's really exciting. the German bake sale at the Historic Hermann Museum, Chris Kendall Market at Stonehill Winery, and at Hermannhof Inn on the Fest Hall. There's just, and the Christmas Tree Farm, the Pea Ridge Forest Christmas Tree Farm is open, and just so much to see and do. Go to visitherman.com. The concerts at Starkenberg. The list goes on and on. Just can't say enough good things about everything we have going on.
How do you continue to tap into the volunteer resources that these communities have to have, because it's not an easy task. I mean, we talked about a lot of those. I mean, a lot of them are getting older, you know what I'm saying, and desire, you know, other things and just cannot do what they do. But you seem to be able to, I mean, there's entrepreneurship mixed in all of this to some degree, and a lot of families, without a doubt. You still need a good amount of volunteerism
Yes.
to be able to pull off what you do.
Absolutely. The Historic Hermann Museum, right there at the corner of 4th and Schiller, it is solely run by non-paid volunteers. So they're open 6 days a week. They put on some great events. They host group tours. The bake sale, they have numerous bakers that are making Lebkuchen and Springerle cookies and not spatzel, but all kinds of...
Mom used to make those Springerling.
Yeah, they're
Spring.
delicious.
Annie's cookies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Annie's.
Anise, and now they have orange and raspberry and mint, and there's just all kinds of flavors. If you want flavors, go to the Deutsheim State Historic Site. And even like the Deutsheim State Historic Site has the Deutsheim Verein, which is an organization of volunteers who help support the Deutsheim. The president of the organization, because it's a state museum, the president of that organization is from Columbia, Missouri. So we're really fortunate to have volunteers that
Come a distance.
Yes, absolutely.
The Springerlings, or Annie's cookies, how I called them, used to, of course, the longer you let them harden, you know what I'm saying, in the glass cookie jar, the better they become, because the Annies go through them, and yeah, but they're also good, like if you're going out hunting, if you're going coon hunting, you stick a whole pocket full of those things, and you kind of suck on them, and they're good for you.
We didn't know that. Grace and I didn't know that.
I've only began. Hey, sorry about that for you guys. Tammy, it's always a pleasure.
Thank you. For me too.
Continue to do what you do, and we appreciate everything you and your community does. And Gracie, you going to change hair colors this week, or you?
Black for witches.
Yeah, there you go.
Who we got next week?
Don't know yet.
We'll be back next week, and good Lord willing. And Golly, time just slips away from us, but thank you for being here today, and God bless you. And make plans now to spend this Oktoberfest weekend doing something that you really, really enjoy, and we'll all be better for it. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week.